What's up, guys? We got something new for you today. It's not that new, but it's new to us. What do we got, Jack?
Got one of these, the DJI FPV combo. And it should have been here last week, right? Last Wednesday, actually, but it didn't, did it, Chris?
Yeah, we'll get into that a little bit, won't we? I've got little bits and pieces. We're showing up along the way. I got some filters here. I got a remote. We'll get into, as we talk and as you unbox, we'll talk a little bit more about why we didn't get it till now, why we seem like the last guys in America to have bought it and not gotten it.
Yeah.
But anyway.
But also, you know, there is a silver lining to that because we stumbled into some pretty darn good insurance deals, right?
We think so. Of course, like any insurance, you don't know until you need to file a claim, but we think we've got a pretty good deal you guys might want to learn about.
Yeah. So we'll be right back and we'll tell you all about where you should buy this drone. We'll take a look at it. And how do you get insurance on this thing? You know, that DJI Care is expensive, $300 some odd, and I think we've got a better idea. Stay tuned.
Be back.
All right, so welcome back, everybody. We're going to get right into the unboxing here. Let me get this up on the screen so you can see. Yeah, we picked up the DJI FPV combo, and yeah, I'm just going to start opening it up. And Chris, why don't you tell these guys a little bit about our experience purchasing this drone?
Yeah, before I do that, you guys, as Jack unboxes, if there's anything you want him to show you about the drone that you haven't already seen, you know, let him know. We'll try to answer. If there's anything you want us to do in the next week or so that you haven't seen people try yet, let us know in the comments as well. Whether you're watching live or watching after the fact, we'll try to get to those videos or other content as soon as we can. But as Jack gets started here, let me tell you about buying this thing. So we thought we'd be clever, try to get it early. Best Buy was saying we could get it, what was it first, Jack? Shipped to us by last Wednesday?
Yeah, overnight shipping. One day for
overnight
I
shipping.
think it was $40 for the drone and the remote. So we said, yes, we'll do that.
So we went for that, 40 extra bucks. Why not? And then the day comes around. They say, yeah, we're not going to be able to do that. We'll give you your 40 bucks back. We'll let you know when the drone shows up. We canceled that because they were saying we could come do an in-store pickup on Saturday. So we went for that. Is it available Saturday? No, no one at Best Buy likes to answer the phone. They've got 500 people wandering the floor there. ready to show you the latest refrigerator, but they have nobody to answer the phone at Best Buy. Extremely frustrating. If you're at Best Buy and you're listening, or you watch this after the fact, please pay attention. Get someone to answer your phones. I'll get more into it in a second. Jack, what do we got so far?
All right. So right off the bat, I see the goggles and the drone in the box.
Should we blow that up a little bit for everybody?
Let's see. Zoom in a little. There we go. And yeah, so it's just the drone and the goggles inside the box. The drone, it's got some.
It's hard to hear you, Jack. Hard to hear you.
All right, I'll bring the the mic a little closer, but yeah, you can see this drone has some. I'll just come over here, right? It's got some serious heft to it. The battery right here, it is connected, which is kind of interesting. Squeeze on the sides and pull out the battery. 6S battery. If I tap, it's not indicating that it's charged at all, which, whatever, I guess that makes some sense.
Hopefully it's better than the last thing we got in the mail.
Gosh.
That didn't turn on.
Yeah. The Osmo Mobile 2, which I thought we were getting a Mobile 3, but we got a 2 and that didn't work.
Turn on at all, which was weird.
So, all right. So drone and battery, we'll set that aside. We'll come back to it. All right. Then we got goggles. Goggles V2, and I have my V1 goggles. Now, when you look at them side by side, they look the same. I've got aftermarket antennas on this, but on the outside they look the same, but there is some significant differences inside. The most important being probably that it's sends and receives 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. So you got some band switching, so that's good. Also, the resolution on these screens is a little bit better. I think up to 810p versus 720p, kind of a strange resolution, but yeah. So there's your goggles.
Very nice. Pretty basic so far, what we were expecting. So to continue the Best Buy saga real quick, go there. They don't know anything about it. They don't have it. They basically saying they're canceling the order for us because they have no idea when they're going to get it. So now we're just kind of lost. But luckily Best Buy came through and they had the drone. They could deliver it today. And that's where we are now.
Best Buy, Amazon.
I'm sorry, Amazon. Yes.
Amazon. So Amazon came through with the drone. They still have them in stock, so that's good. But that was actually kind of a blessing in disguise because, we got it. We're going to take a look at the sticks here just inside. We got it pretty quick. We ordered on Saturday. We got it today. Had I ordered it from Amazon sooner, we could have had it sooner. But Best Buy told us they were going to give us the drone. Liars.
Yeah. So I don't think we'll be buying from Best Buy in the future.
No, I don't think so. But the Amazon has a silver lining because, DJI Care Refresh is, I don't know, $300 some odd. These sticks are different.
Gets you a couple years, gets you a couple replacement drones if you need it. If you've ever bought anything on Amazon, you might be aware often you're offered some kind of protection plan that's offered through this Allstate business. And right now they're like $110 for
$110 for 3 years of damage replacement coverage.
So not bad. I mean, that's basically a third of the price. We had some other folks on our last live stream mentioning, they like State Farm. They insure all their drones through that.
Mm-hmm.
As long and we didn't get a lot of claim history on that in terms of, but people are just generally saying they have a good experience there, like $100 a year for all their drones, something like that.
Yeah.
What else we got there on the remote?
All right. So remote is nice. It's a gamepad style remote, similar to something like, this FR Sky X Lite.
So how does it feel when you want to pinch? That's kind of the question with these game style. Right?
It's comfortable. Right.
Yeah,
it works. I don't know, usually there's not a really great place to put my finger. So, I wonder if I'll accidentally, hit this gimbal wheel or the stop start button.
One thing I noticed on this remote, I don't know if you want to make me a little bigger, Jack, real quick. How do we do that? There we go. Like all the buttons are super, it's getting focused there. Focus, maybe. There we are. All the buttons are like really protected, right? You feel like you're almost in like an airplane, where you don't want your pilots accidentally switching the wrong switch. So they usually have features like this around the buttons. So this is the panic button here, the emergency brake, also known by other names. We got a couple other buttons, record, the M button, and then the tilt. But point being, a lot of protection around. So is there somewhere maybe to rest your fingers there, Jack?
Not as a pincher, no. This remote was definitely set up for thumbers. We got our start stop button here. We've got our pause / whatever button, return to home over here. I do like these mode switches up here, right? They're not, if we look at most FPV drones, you have these protruding switches that tend to break, right? If you drop your remote, that oftentimes that's the first thing you break. And the Tango 2 was kind of the first one to kind of go to this, style, and it just makes a whole lot more sense, right?
Yeah.
Why are the remotes not doing it? Well, because they're afraid to change, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, it's slow moving. These things are like an inch long. I mean, it's just begging for breakage.
Yeah, so that's that's disappointing. But
I mean, maybe I should. I mean, when we fly a lot of different things like we do, maybe you got somebody who needs the 8 switches. We don't use that many switches, and when you constantly changing products, it's kind of hard to remember all those different things anyway. But anyway, so Jack, you like the switches, but you mentioned you really think it's a Thumbers remote, but is there another option? I mean,
no.
Right.
So I have the other DJI remote, right? So if I wanted this, right, which has kind of more of a traditional feel, it has your goofy metal or aluminum switches, but I cannot fly my DJI drone with this. I don't even think that the V1 goggles work, which it's
tough. Yeah.
Disappointing, actually.
Yeah.
So that's
how we're going to be able to use these goggles with what drones?
Yeah. So, I can still, this is the iFly AE75, and I can fly this thing with the new goggles, but I can't fly it with this remote, at least not yet. I think, a firmware update could solve that. Yeah. Should DJI want to go down that route. And I don't know, it just seems to make sense to me that they would, but I don't know, right? So I've got my, my classic 5-inch drone here that I fly with my DJI stuff, but I can use the new goggles, but I can't use the new remote. Okay. See what else we got in the box. I got 2 boxes labeled props A and B. Looks like I've got 2 full sets of propellers, which is cool. The thing about these propellers that's really nice is, unlike these guys, right? Like when I need to change my propellers, I got to go get a wrench.
It's the worst.
It's
the
terrible.
Worst.
This is a major upgrade. So a couple of things about this propeller itself. You'll notice that it's not actually a 5-inch prop. It's a tiny bit larger, right? And that allows it to be a little bit more efficient. Yeah. So these are 53 2080S. So 5328S props. So they're a little bit larger, right? 53 versus 5.3 inches. And they have a really pretty shallow pitch to them. So they're going to be a little bit more efficient. They're also stiffer. They're made of a stiffer plastic. So that's interesting.
So shallow pitch, that kind of indicates maybe not the fastest flyer, right? It's more for hovering.
Yes. So,
not that
more for efficiency, I would say, right? So less drag. So we just push and turn, my props go on. The question is, can I put them on the wrong motors? And the answer is...
So if you've ever flown a Mavic or one of these, like how easy it is to remove Mavic propellers doesn't even really make sense. They fold up. Made a ton of sense on the Phantom 4 when they came out with it. Makes a ton of sense here. We've been dying to have a racing drone like this because you really want to take these props off. They don't fold up, and just is such a huge advantage. Removing props from a racing drone, which you have to do all the time because they get messed up, is such a pain in the neck.
It is.
How much does it cost to buy more props? Have we looked?
Yeah. What was your question, Chris?
How much new props cost if I want 4 new props? Have you looked yet?
I did. I remember them being $20 or $30 to get a set, or maybe it was 2 sets. I don't remember exactly. All right, so we got a plastic. This is a plastic shell, like it's rigid. I actually kind of thought this was soft, kind of like a cell phone cover, but it isn't. It's a hard plastic shell. So
that goes over, or is just like a switch out kind of deal?
It's a switch out sort of deal. Then of course we've got these are
4 props for $15. That's not too bad. Yeah, I saw Type Wolf, Type 11 Wolf is filling us in with some information as well.
Appreciate it, man.
Actually, $15 here. We get the favorable exchange rate for unknown reasons.
Okay, so we got all sorts of cords. Plug for the battery, for the FPV, plug for the brick. We got a USB-C cable.
Type 11 Wolf, also the only person so far to ask or suggest something we do with the drone, which was to completely disassemble it. I don't think that's what we're doing this week. Maybe if we destroy it, we'll take it apart. That'd be kind of fun.
And then we'll also test out our insurance. We got our antennas. Now these antennas, these are dual band antennas, so they're not interchangeable with the version 1 antennas. So you got to that is definitely important. You got to keep that in mind. If you want to swap antennas, you can't just swap any antennas, right? They're left hand, right? So they're left hand circularized, or circular polarized, I should say. But they look identical to version 1 antennas, but the inside of them very different. So you're not
going to mix them up, are you? They have some mark on them?
They do not. They have no markings that indicate that these are V2. They look identical. Now we're not using the standard antennas. We got some stubbies that do a little bit better. They're a little bit smaller. I like them a little bit more on my V1 goggles. So there's that.
We got a hello from the Minnesota Canada border. It's getting warm here, John. I don't know how you're feeling up there right now.
Hopefully.
When are you going to thaw out?
Hopefully it's nice. We got a little tool here. This looks like it's an Allen wrench so that I can pull my shell off, right? So, if I want to swap this on out for the green one, I do need a tool to do that. And this is actually a really important piece here that you might not think. This is an OTG adapter, right? So I go from USB-C to a standard USB connection. Why is that important? Well, because when I connected my goggles here, now I have basically an HDMI out. So I can send a video signal, not HDMI, but I can send a signal to my phone. So if I'm flying, I get to see the picture in the goggles, and Chris wants to see what I'm flying. He can watch on the phone using the Fly app.
Yeah, that's cool. So Senior Wolf clarified. He said it looks like he already crashed it, and rather than buy a new one, he was able to piece out and sell the bits and pieces and make money, make €300 and above what he paid, and then buy another drone. So we could just start shipping this stuff, Jack.
Hey, heck yeah. Not a bad idea. If Allstate's not watching, maybe we crash it, file a claim, get a replace. No, we would not do that. We wouldn't do that. All right. So what else we got? I got my battery for the FPV goggles. Let's see, we got charge in here. It does appear to have half a charge. So that's cool.
Okay, so that's different, right? Did the last set of goggles come with a battery?
No. Yeah, this is definitely new. And
where does that clip in?
So
I'm using one of these deals on my V1s, right? Got a lipo, got a connector.
So you can see that's also what they provided me, right?
Oh.
One of these long cables. So I connect it here. And I do know that this isn't just a standard, like it outputs like, what is it, 7.4 volts or something like this. So I can't use this to charge my cell phone, I guess, or it'll fry it.
Okay.
Right?
So they throw in a little battery.
So that's what I read. So that's what we got. You know, I think, you know, I'm excited to fly this thing, but to be honest, for $1,200, it's there's a couple of things that I'm disappointed about. Let me get this stuff out of the way.
You gotta get closer to that mic.
Yeah. So this is nice, but it is a tiny bit disappointing, right? $1,200. Why do I not have a case? Or, you know, like the old Phantoms, they used to ship with those kind of like foam cases. You know, maybe I don't need like a full-on case. Why was that not an option? Why did I not get an option with the Flymore for a bag and another battery, right? These batteries are $150 or something like that. And on that note, we ordered one from DJI. DJI claims that I received it, but I didn't. I ordered this battery and a set of foam because I find these goggles super uncomfortable. So different foam for this. Well, I got the foam, but I didn't get the battery, and they said I got both. So now I got to deal with that. So we're dealing with Best Buy, we're dealing with DJI. You know, it just in terms of like people doing things that they're supposed to be doing, it's kind of disappointing. So, however, Amazon,
yeah, they been a rough week. Hopefully Amazon pulls through, did pull through, changes things for us. What is that foam on those goggles any different?
Nope, it's identical, right? So it's identical to the last set of goggles, which again, it's like, you talk to anybody that's flown it, it's just not super comfortable. Like it just doesn't fit. It's not thick enough, actually. Oh
yeah, so I started flying again recently, right, Jack? And that was the first set of goggles. I was flying the DJI Whoop around the basement, and I was having a good time. But then I switched to a more traditional analog system, and I threw on these Sky Zones, and I was like, that is so much lighter, so much more comfortable. So that's one strike against that digital system, I guess.
Yeah. So let's do something here. Let's power some of the stuff up. I guess I can't power the drone on yet because I gotta charge this battery. But you know what? There is a pretty interesting flight simulator, right? So let's just see if we can't get that thing connected. I don't know. Maybe this isn't a good idea. Maybe it is. We'll find out. But supposedly I can connect my Googles to my phone. Let's pull these. All right. And let's open up. All right. So I'm going to open up the DJI Virtual Flight app. I'm going to get going here. Let's see what happens.
If anybody's held one of these before, if you haven't, it is interesting. I mean, really smooth motion on the trigger, pretty stiff, like spring force, which is fine. It's definitely meant for righties because if you're lefty, you don't have access to any useful button except you can't even reach the power button. Not that it's useful. So it's a righty remote. I don't think they have a lefty option. and with your thumb, then you have access to the record, the tilt, and everything else. It seems, I would say, pretty convenient to reach stuff. A little bit of strain to kind of wrist strain to kind of hold it in such a way your thumb can move around everything. I kind of wish the brake button maybe were a little closer to home. I mean, because the most comfortable way to hold it's just, like a pistol grip and have your thumb right there. And then your thumb is the opposite side. I gotta swing it all the way up here. So if this thing's geared towards probably more novices, it'll be interesting to see if we can get, smoother or less smooth footage with this thing. But I'll tell you my experience with the DJI goggles, the original goggles. I don't know if you knew this. They had, what do they call those things? The goggles RE.
Yeah.
We had them, and they had a mode where you could control the gimbal and the yaw of the drone by tilting your head. And it was not good at all in terms of the smoothness. So it just wasn't smooth. It wasn't sensitive. So jerky. So be interesting to see if this thing is really sensitive, really smooth. It seems like it could be. And we know drones have relatively inexpensive but very effective stability gyroscopes and accelerometers. So hopefully this thing is nice to use. I don't know if anybody's seen anything how it's working out yet.
All right, so this was on, so I wonder if that was part of the issue. So I'm gonna turn it off, and I'm gonna turn the remote on. The app didn't seem to want to load in my iPad, so that's kind of disappointing. Okay.
Yeah. So DJI's simulator, Jack, have you figured out, is it supposed to work with the remote?
Yes.
Okay.
So it looks like I need to pair the remote and the goggles together. I would have assumed that they would have done that for me, but apparently they did not.
Yeah, we've got some folks on here. We've got a Bebot 2 pilot, John Bangan. But if you've never bought a DJI drone, you would know, or if you have, you would know that when you get a Mavic or a Phantom, I mean, they're pre-paired, the remote and the drone at least. Little unfortunate. It didn't happen for you this time. Obviously, this came separately, so we're definitely going to need to pair this. It's usually pretty easy. There's a button on the drone. We have confirmation from Type 11 Wolf that yes, you do have to bind and activate it.
That's disappointing. I got to go through the activation process, which I've done with, you got to do that with all the other DJI FPV stuff. I forget how to, you turn it on.
I don't know, Jack, you want to go through all that now, or?
No, well, you're right. We should probably just, we'll figure this out later. So
we haven't seen any questions yet. If you were watching this after the fact or right now, go ahead, leave comments. What have you just been dying to know about this thing that you haven't gotten somewhere else? We'll go try to figure it out.
Yeah, so we're gonna create some content. The DJI Mavic Air 2, this guy actually has an FPV mode, right? So maybe one of the questions is, could you do some FPV sort of stuff with this versus that, right? Like which one of these do you really want? If you also, this has a gimbal, it's a one-axis gimbal. Can you get some quality footage from this versus the Mavic Air? So, we'll do some comparisons. I haven't seen anyone do that yet, right? We are, of course, going to compare it to one of these, right? This has the DJI Air unit on board, DJI camera. So we'll compare those two as well. I'll talk about how I actually don't think that it's a similar drone to this. I don't think so at all. I think it's somewhere between Cinewhip and long range. So we'll talk about.
Yeah. I mean, another one is just what I'm kind of interested to know is if you're getting into the hobby, and you have a GoPro, let's make the assumption you have a GoPro, And, how is that footage going to compare, or how much easier is it to get into the hobby with this new DJI FPV drone? Made easier with things like the brake, for example, and the hovering of the GPS and return to home if you don't know where the heck you are, or this remote. So if you want to get either that tilting, not totally stabilized FPV footage, or you want to learn how to fly acro, is this a better starting place, or is this just a more expensive starting place?
Yeah,
that's kind of a question I have.
Yeah, we'll definitely we'll take a look at all that stuff too. So yeah, we'll get this stuff activated and bound and paired. We'll look at the simulator. We'll look at the drone. We'll compare the cameras. We'll talk about how it fares versus some other things. But yeah, so that stuff is coming on the channel. If you haven't already subscribed, make sure you do that. If you haven't, if you're new to the live stream, we typically live stream on Sunday nights. We try to do it 2-3 times a month, and we do a fun thing called Turtle Time, where Chris flies around his basement until he crashes or has to turtle the drone, and the person that guesses the closest to his flight time wins something. So we give away drones and stuff on our live streams. Not this one, because, well, I'm not giving away this FPV drone. I haven't even flown it. So, check that out. Also, we give away a drone at least once a month to our Patreons. We're doing that at the end of this month, the 28th. So if you're not a Patreon and you want a chance to win a drone, I mean, right now you got like a 1 in 8 chance or something.
Pretty good.
Right? So,
we've given away, how many Patreons have already won something? Like half of our Patreons, right?
Yeah, more than half. Plus, some of them have already won twice. So it's a pretty good deal. Plus, it's a way to help support this channel. So if you like the content we're throwing out there, please do so. Plus, I'm on the Patreon. We post things to our Patreons that you won't see on YouTube or on our website. It's just kind of access to us. You can ask us questions, banter back and forth. So it's just another way to interact with the channel, help support the channel if you're interested. But yeah, that's all we got now for this DJI FPV drone. We're gonna bind it, pair it, register it, charge it, and then eventually we're gonna fly it. There's Jerry Marchand, 2-time winner. Absolutely, look at that, Jerry and his children. Jerry won a couple of drones from us. So it can be done, folks. It could be you.
Should we commit, Jack? When is our first FPV video coming out?
Oh, gosh.
Friday?
Right? So I would like to say Friday. Chris and I are going to get together tomorrow, do some content. But yeah, we should have something Friday, maybe even tomorrow.
See what we can do. Maybe a quick little snippet.
Maybe we'll even go live tomorrow for a quick flight. Who knows? Yeah,
we'll have to check on the weather. It's supposed to be nice tomorrow. Today was too windy to fly, so we're going to bind everything, charge everything, take pictures before we destroy it, and go fly tomorrow.
Yeah. Michael asks in the chat, how would I get it replaced for 110? Am I that late? You are. We talked about it earlier, but no worries. We bought it from Amazon and picked up the Allstate camcorder camera insurance that they offered us.
They have not replaced one for us yet, but we'll find out if they will, if the need arises.
Yeah, so they did say for typical use, which flying a drone is typical use. Flying an FPV drone crashing is typical. So it actually feels a little bit more sturdy than I kind of anticipated. So that's that actually makes me feel a little better. I've been actually kind of terrified to fly this thing, but no, I'm just going to start ripping this thing right in acro. Chris, how do you feel about that? Does that make you nervous?
You flying at acro? Yeah, because you have a certain way of flying acro outside. I would be very nervous, and so I will be more cautious. But I don't know. Maybe you can dial it back a little bit, Jack.
Oh, I will. I have not flown a $1,200 acro drone before. Actually,
it'd be a nice feature if they can enable 2 remote connection, where the remote you're not using to fly with has the just the button, the OS button, where S is short for a 4-letter word. So that'd be kind of cool if you could train someone to fly. Like when you go and you learn to drive a car, and there's the guy with the second brake pedal. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. And actually, I will be. You know, whenever I fly this thing, I'm actually a little nervous because this was kind of my first real build where I kind of built this thing from scratch, and we got these awesome, good venture drone motors on this thing, and you know, this air unit was not cheap. You know, this frame was not cheap. So yeah, I do. You know, but when I fly, most of these things on the wall behind me, I just kind of go balls to the wall, and then I crash at some point, and almost everything on the wall behind me is broken. But also
So
that helps you guys know, like, you know, I'm going to push these things to their limits, right? And I don't know what their limit is until I break something. So I do that for you, for the.
I got a question, Jack.
Yeah.
No one else is asking us questions, but I got one that just popped in my head because of Type 11 Wolf. He said the quality is not GoPro level and obviously below the Mavic 2. So my question is, if it's not how easy is it gonna be for us to put a GoPro on this thing, and so we can do side-by-side comparison? And question to Type 11 Wolf, what mode do you feel like you get the best video quality out of the GoPro? So what kind of so we'll turn on the crazy stabilization and just take off the camera, film in 4K 30 with stabilization maxed out. What do you recommend? And we'll go ahead and try to compare it. Do we have anywhere to mount that camera?
So no, but like just kind of looking at this shell, right? We could drill a hole right here and put one of our typical FPV mounts, you know, actually.
Maybe I should get on that tonight, huh?
Yeah, we'll get on that Thingiverse. Yeah, we could definitely mount a GoPro to this thing for side-by-side footage. Yeah, for sure.
That would be pretty good.
We're also going to put an Insta360 on this for some awesome viewpoints.
Third-person view.
Yeah, we're going to do that. Let's do that tomorrow.
I mean, I got to say, I took it for granted that the idea that this footage would be as good as a GoPro, because if it's not, I honestly think that's a little bit of a problem, Jack. I mean, because what's the point?
I've seen, it's better than the footage you get from this camera.
Yeah, but still, I don't see why it shouldn't be as good as a GoPro.
That's a good point.
And I think
we'll find out. You know, it's hard to really judge the quality of video on YouTube because they compress it so much. But at the same time, you know, I've watched enough video to see that it's, you know, when they're compressing GoPro footage, it doesn't look as grainy or, you know, granular or whatever you want to call it.
Compared to
GoPro, like the GoPro versus this, right? I've seen everyone else fly this thing because they got it before us.
And you're saying which videos look better?
GoPro looks better.
I don't know. That's okay.
We'll see. I mean,
yeah, that's very disappointing to me.
You know, we'll strap a GoPro on it. Maybe that's what we do first, right? Because I haven't seen that. You know, side by side, GoPro versus DJI FPV. What do you want? We'll put both their stabilizations on. You can see their stabilization and how they compare. Let's do that.
All right, man. Should we wrap it?
Yeah, let's wrap it up. 38 minutes. So you know,
I only had a 30-minute kitchen pass, so I'm getting in trouble
hit that thumbs up if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't. So we can keep making this content for you guys. We do this because it's fun, but you know, we also, you know, we like the thumbs up. So we'll probably compare it. We have the GoPro, the Hero 8 or 9, 8, not the latest one because it's not really that much better.
Right.
Just more expensive. Yeah.
So we'll compare to the best GoPro we have, good enough, and we'll get the settings dialed in, and we'll see how they look. But yeah, thanks guys so much for joining us. And if you're watching after the fact, thanks again. And go ahead and subscribe. We'll see you guys next time.
Yep. Have a good one.
All right. See ya.